You remember what it's like to have sexual desire, but it just doesn't come that easy anymore, and you miss it. Maybe you've given up, but you don't need to. There are ways to cultivate your desire and reawaken your desire, and that's what we're going to talk about today. We are the sexagenarian sages.
And we are here to bust the myths of sex and aging.
And that's one of the things I hear is, yeah, I just don't really get turned on anymore. And I wish I could. And what really saddens me is I hear people say, yeah, I've just given up.
Yep.
It doesn't have to be that way.
Yes, there are changes that go on in your body. When you're young, you've got those real juicy hormones flowing. It's easy to get aroused.
And maybe you're in a new relationship when it's even easier to get aroused.
That new relationship energy.
Yes. Now, our bodies do change as we get older. We do so many things to help ourselves as we get older. We may be losing flexibility, so we start doing yoga. We do these things, but we don't think about doing it with sex.
How come?
I don't know. I think some of it is our cultural conditioning about sex is supposed to be spontaneous and natural, and it just naturally fades as you age.
And there's nothing you can do about it. You just live with it.
Yeah. There's actually a couple of different ways of looking at desire. There's spontaneous desire. It's that desire that you remember when you looked at your partner and you were just instantly turned on and you wanted sex with them. And then there's responsive desire. Responsive desire is when your body responds to what you're doing and the turn on comes. It's one of the things we've talked about in other videos is we schedule sex. And we may not be in the mood for it at that point in time. But once we get started, we certainly enjoy it, don't we?
Sure.
Yeah.
There's things that we do to help to get those hormones moving to bring about some arousal. And if we wanted, we could just say, oh, no,
It's not happening tonight.
Not going to happen tonight, and just walk away. Or we can do some things that will help us to create arousal in our bodies.
And we can do things to create an arousal in our bodies in the moment. And we can have practices that help create our arousal on an ongoing basis. One of the things I want to talk about, though, is how they define sex. So many of us define sex as PIV, penis and vagina. If that's not going to happen, then why bother? We define sex as a pleasurable, erotic experience, whether or not it involves intercourse, sometimes even whether or not it involves genital contact. It's that activity that gets your hormones flowing.
Ask yourself some questions. So is oral sex sex? Is anal sex sex?
It's just,
Is sucking on nipples sex? Is heavy kissing sex? Ask yourself what it is that really feels like great erotic connection to you. And maybe broaden your idea of what sex really is.
and also ask yourself what you can do for yourself to get your desire going even before an encounter. Now, we've talked about the erotic blueprints before. I'm a sensual. There are certain things I know will help me get turned on. A nice hot bath, touching myself in a way that feels good. Maybe some sensual dance. It's not about he has to turn me on. It's about I want to get turned on because I want to feel that way. Whether it's just having turn on or whether it's being ready for an encounter with him.
And that being said, I can help with that. I can provide her with the touch that she needs. I can set up some wonderfully scented candles, make sure the heat is turned up. There are things that I can do to help her toward that aroused state.
Arousal doesn't have to start when you're ready for sex. You can start it, you can have touches during the day. We do that, we hug. We have what we call our 7-second kiss. It's a way of connecting, but it can also be a way of cultivating our arousal.
Some of the things we mentioned, remember back in January too, about exercising and eating right. If you're doing those, it will also help your body to be able to achieve arousal easier, quicker, better.
It actually helps the circulation.
Mhm.
So actually, exercising before sex can be a good thing.
It can, yeah.
And not eating a heavy meal before sex.
And why is that? Because the blood's gonna go to your intestines and your stomach and not to where you want it, your genitals.
Yep. Now, some long-term things. Desire ebbs and flows. Sometimes you've got a higher desire, sometimes you've got a lower one. And I've been through some stages where my desire's been a little bit low. And for a time, it's okay, but then it starts to bother me. And that's when I start doing some practices to bring that desire back. One of the things I've done a couple of times is a self-pleasure challenge. I think I usually do it for about a month. I'll set up, I am going to self-pleasure for X minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 25 out of the next 30 days. And what self-pleasure to me means is touching myself, dancing, whatever it is I need in a way to create turn on, and it does not have to include genital contact. If I get aroused enough where I want genital contact, great, I'll go for it. But those times when my arousal kind of ebbed and I wanted it back, those challenges helped me bring it back.
So here's a real important point here. Just because you don't have that spontaneous, hot, youthful arousal like you used to get when you were 22 years old, doesn't mean that you can't have arousal now that you're 52, 62, 72 years old. You can still build it and develop it if you're willing.
And we have other tools for reawakening that desire, both as an individual and if you're in a relationship as a couple. Let us help you. That's why we got into sex coaching. We see so many couples out there who are living as roommates when they want more.
Yep.
You can have more. Contact us.
We can help you talk to your partner if your partner doesn't seem to be interested. We can help you for what you can do for yourself. Don't spend the latter part of your life wishing you could be aroused, wishing you could have an orgasm, just thinking it's all gone and past when it's not.
It's all over.
You can still do something about it.
And we're proof of it. And we know people who are in their 70s. I think even some of them are in their 80s at this point.
Yes.
Who are having satisfying sex that feeds them. Don't give up just because you're getting older.
So subscribe, click, share this. Maybe you have friends, family members, others that you think could maybe benefit from some of what we're saying. And maybe it's you. Share it, save this, watch it again, subscribe to it.
And get in touch if you want some help.
Our links are below. Thanks for watching.
Thank you for watching.